Mr. Miller was a security guard at the West Hills Shopping Center. With his graying hair, slightly stooped back, and oversized blue uniform, he looked like just another ordinary old man enjoying his retirement. He always wore a kind smile, patiently directing customers and reminding children not to run on the slippery floor. No one knew his full name was James Miller, or that he was once one of the top snipers in the British Special Air Service, SAS, code-named Ghost. It was an ordinary Friday afternoon, and the mall was at its peak traffic. Suddenly, from the Tiffany jewelry store in the atrium, a piercing alarm blared, followed by a woman's scream. 2 clear gunshots rang out. The crowd exploded, and panic spread like a plague. People screamed and fled in all directions. Miller's reaction was astonishingly fast. His hunched back instantly straightened, and the gentleness in his eyes gave way to a hawk-like sharpness. He pressed the emergency button on his intercom, alerted the police, and briefly explained the situation. He quickly, but calmly directed the crowd nearby to evacuate through the emergency exits. Then, like a shadow, he silently moved behind a massive support column and observed the situation at the jewelry store. Through the store's large glass windows, he could see 2 assailants wearing black masks. One held a young female employee hostage with a pistol, while the other, brandishing a sawed-off shotgun, frantically shoveled jewelry into a canvas bag. The held hostage was remarkably calm. Unlike most hostages, she didn't cry or struggle. Instead, she tilted her head slightly, her ears seemingly listening, her eyes scanning the mall's upper-level circular corridors and several main entrances and exits. In less than 5 minutes, the piercing sound of sirens spread from far and wide, and the entire mall was quickly cordoned off. Police Special Weapons and Tactics, SWAT, officers, dressed in black combat uniforms and armed with MP5 submachine guns, rushed in and quickly secured all entrances and exits. The SWAT commander, Lieutenant Roberts, received Miller's initial report from a makeshift command post. There are 2 robbers inside, armed with pistols and shotguns. A female hostage is inside, Miller said calmly, pointing toward the jewelry store's interior. The SWAT sniper team quickly secured their usual vantage points, 2 symmetrical observation points on either side of the mall's 3rd floor, offering a view of most of the jewelry store's interior. However, a problem immediately arose. The jewelry store's interior was meticulously designed, with massive display cases and built-in safes creating numerous blind spots. The female employee, who had been held hostage, seemed to be fully aware of the sniper's deployment. She skillfully used the robbers' bodies, the store's pillars, and the counters as cover, constantly placing her own vitals, or those of the robber leader, within the sniper's blind spot. Her occasional small movements, seemingly unconscious struggles, always served to perfectly disrupt the SWAT sniper's fleeting chances. "Damn it!" a sniper muttered a curse over the radio. Target 1, the pistol-wielding leader, is constantly blocked by the hostages and the counter. I have less than a 30% chance of hitting him in the head. Too risky. Target 2, the shotgun-wielding robber, is moving, but the hostage's position blocks the best line of fire, another sniper reported. The negotiator began communicating with the robbers over the phone, but they became agitated, demanding a fully fueled car and threatening to kill the hostages if they didn't see one within 10 minutes. The seconds ticked by, the stalemate continued, and the atmosphere became suffocating. Inspector Roberts frowned, sweat beads forming on his forehead. He had never encountered such a professional hostage-taker before. It felt like a confrontation with his peers. Just then, Miller, who had been observing silently, approached. His gait was steady, no longer that of an old man. "Inspector," Miller's voice was low but clear. "Conventional sniper positions won't work. They ... Or rather, the female hostage knows how to defend against them. Inspector Roberts looked at the veteran security guard suspiciously. "What do you suggest, Mr. Miller?" "We're working on something." "Give me a sniper rifle," Miller said, his gaze sharp above the jewelry store. "I know a location. One they'd never expect." Inspector Roberts was stunned, and the SWAT team members beside him cast doubtful glances. But Miller's eyes held an unquestionable authority and confidence, the culmination of countless trials and tribulations. "Who do are you?" Inspector Roberts asked instinctively. No time for explanation. Miller pointed to the ceiling of the mall's atrium, where a giant decorative metal star, designed for the upcoming Christmas season, hung. One of the star's sharp corners faced an obscure corner inside the jewelry store. From there, there's an extremely narrow angle of fire that can penetrate the gap between two layers of glass and hit Target 2's right shoulder blade, instantly incapacitating him. Target 1's attention will be drawn, and your sniper can eliminate him the moment he reveals his head. The plan sounded incredible. The firing range was over 80 meters. The target area was narrow, and it required penetrating decorations and glass, along with calculating complex trajectory and drop. "This is insane. How could you possibly double quotes?" A SWAT team member couldn't help but retort. "Trust me." Miller said only 3 words, but the look in his eyes stirred something in Lieutenant Roberts' heart. He remembered Miller's precise description of the situation and his calm reaction. Give him the accuracy International AXMC. Lieutenant Roberts made a bold decision. He chose to trust the mysterious old security guard. Miller took the advanced sniper rifle with the deftness of a hand, as if caressing the skin of an old friend. He checked the scope and ammunition. Then, instead of heading for the stairs, he grabbed the maintenance cable, dangling from the edge of the atrium, used to clean the glass curtain wall. With the agility and speed of a 20-year-old, he climbed upwards, disappearing into the shadows. The SWAT team below was stunned. A few minutes later, Miller's calm voice came over the radio. "Ghost in position." Inspector Roberts' heart trembled. Ghost! The code name for the legendary SAS sniper? He had only read fragments of it in classified internal files. Inside the mall, the standoff continued. The robber leader, growing increasingly impatient, smashed the counterglass with the butt of his pistol. Just then, bang! A distinctive, dull, yet precise gunshot rang out from above. In the jewelry store, the rifle-wielding criminal screamed. A spray of blood erupted from his right shoulder blade, and the rifle flew out of his hand. Almost instantly, in the fraction of a second, that it took the leader of the robbers, startled by his companion's screams, to instinctively look out. Bang! Bang! The SWAT snipers on either side of the 3rd floor finally seized this fleeting opportunity. With 2 nearly overlapping shots, the leader was struck simultaneously in the head and chest, collapsing to the ground. The operation was over. The hostages were safely rescued. As Miller slid down the cable and handed the sniper rifle back to the still shocked SWAT team, the rescued young female shop assistant approached. She looked at Miller, a flicker of understanding and respect in her eyes. She whispered, a voice only the 2 of them could hear. The trajectory was from top to bottom, offset by 1.5 mils, correcting for glass REFRACTIO ... Only the SAS Ghost could have fired that shot. Thank you, Senior. It turned out that the hostage was actually an undercover MI5 agent investigating a robbery ring with ties to foreign terrorist organizations. The news quickly spread. Reporters rushed to the scene with their cameras trained on old Miller. The next day, a newspaper headline featured his slightly reserved photo, with the headline, "Mall security guard is a legendary SAS sniper. Ghost defends hijack crisis with a single strike." The retired Special Air Service commander also called, half jokingly and half seriously saying, "James, it seems you're still sharp. Would you consider coming back and teaching those rookies a lesson?" Miller declined his old commander's offer. He chose to remain at the West Hills Shopping Center and continue his security job. However, his colleagues looked at him with immense admiration, and children surrounded him, begging him to tell stories from the past. The blue security uniform remained ordinary, but on James Miller, it shone with a timeless heroic aura. He knew that some skills would rust, but the sense of responsibility and protection ingrained in his bones would never fade.